Rolex is one of the most luxury brands in the world, valued today at around $8 billion. Its history dates back a century ago and began with an orphan teenager whose inheritance was stolen away from him. With nothing other than his determination to overcome his challenges, he ran away from his hometown and moved to another country. After a few years working his way out, he decided to follow his passion and opened a watchmaking business. Little did he know that this business venture would lead him to pioneer modern wristwatches, changing its whole industry and creating a billion-dollar empire. Hans Wilsdorf was born in Kulmbach, Germany on March 22, 1881. His family ran a successful iron goods business, but tragedy struck early. His mother died in 1892, and a year later his father passed away too, leaving Hans an orphan at the age of 12. Under the custody of his uncles, the family business was sold, and Hans was sent to a prestigious boarding school. Though he felt like an outsider, he excelled in mathematics and languages. He later realized that being forced to become self-reliant so early was the key to his success. His curiosity about travel and his friendship with a Swiss boy would eventually lead him to the heart of the watchmaking world. Ever wonder about the mind behind one of the world's most iconic watch brands? Let's dive into the early life of Hans Wilsdorf, a man whose vision would change timekeeping forever. Our story begins not in a watchmaking workshop, but in Geneva, where a young Hans was learning the ropes of the pearl exporting business. It was a world of precision and value, but his true calling was just around the corner. Soon, he found himself in La Chaux de Fonds, the very heart of Swiss watchmaking, working for a company called Kuno Corten. Here, he wasn't just an employee, he was a sponge, soaking up every detail about the intricate world of pocket watches. He was responsible for winding hundreds of them daily and ensuring their accuracy. This hands-on experience gave him an unparalleled understanding of watch movements and quality control. It was here that the seeds of his future empire were planted. Life then took a brief detour. Hans was called to serve his military duty back in Germany, but even this couldn't keep him from his destiny. After his service, he made a pivotal move to London, the bustling commercial center of the world at that time. He started working for another watchmaking firm, all the while honing his skills and expanding his network. London wasn't just a career move. It was where he met the love of his life, an English woman who would become his wife and partner in his ambitious journey. From a pearl apprentice to a watch expert in London, Hans Wilsdorf's early years were a masterclass in preparation and passion. He was laying the groundwork, piece by piece, for a revolution in the watch industry. Picture this. It's the early 1900s. Men of status don't wear watches on their wrists. That's considered, well, a bit feminine. The real mark of a gentleman is a hefty, reliable pocket watch, tucked neatly into a waistcoat. Wristwatches, or wristlets as they were called, were delicate, inaccurate, and seen more as jewelry for ladies. But one young man, a visionary from Bavaria, was about to challenge everything. His name was Hans Wilsdorf. At just 24 years old, he had a bold, almost crazy idea. He believed the future wasn't in the pocket, but right there on the wrist. He envisioned a wristwatch that was not only elegant, but also robust, reliable, and precise. An essential tool for the modern man. Everyone in the established Swiss watch industry told him he was wasting his time. They said a mechanism that small could never be accurate, let alone withstand the rigors of daily life. But Hans was stubborn. He was convinced that the convenience of a wristwatch would win out, if only he could perfect it. So, in 1905, in the bustling city of London, he teamed up with his brother-in-law, Alfred James Davis. Together, they founded a company named Wilsdorf and Davis. Their business model was simple yet brilliant. They would import high-quality small watch movements from a Swiss manufacturer in Bienne and place them into fine watch cases made in England. This partnership was the first crucial step. Hans Wilsdorf wasn't just selling watches. He was on a mission. A mission to prove the skeptics wrong and to create a wristwatch that was masculine, dependable, and a symbol of performance. He relentlessly tested and improved his creations, obsessed with achieving chronometric precision. He knew that to change public perception, his wristwatches had to be better than the pocket watches they sought to replace. This obsession with quality and innovation, born out of a desire to defy convention, was the very seed from which the world's most famous watch brand would eventually grow. Have you ever wondered how a brand gets a name like Rolex? It sounds so luxurious, so timeless, but where did it actually come from? The story is way more interesting than you think. Let's rewind to 1908. A man named Hans Wilsdorf had a successful watch company, but he needed a killer brand name. He had some specific rules. It had to be short, easy to say and remember in any language, and look good printed on the tiny face of a watch. He said he tried combining letters of the alphabet in every way possible and came up with hundreds of names, but none of them felt right. Then one morning, while riding on the upper deck of a horse-drawn bus in London, he said a genie whispered Rolex in his ear. Just like that, the legendary name was born. Now, a great name is one thing, but you need a great product to back it up. Wilsdorf's timing was perfect. World War I was just around the corner, and this conflict would change the world of watches forever. Before the war, men carried pocket watches. They were classy, but not very practical, especially not in the heat of battle. Soldiers needed to check the time quickly, with their hands free. Wristwatches, which were previously seen as more of a delicate accessory for women, suddenly became an essential piece of military gear. And Wilsdorf's watches were not just any wristwatches, they were incredibly reliable and durable. Soldiers started swapping their clunky old pocket watches for these new, robust timepieces. Word spread like wildfire through the trenches. A Rolex wasn't just a watch, it was a dependable tool you could trust with your life. This wartime reputation for toughness and precision gave the Rolex brand a massive boost and cemented its place in history. But success brought new problems. After the war, the British government slapped heavy taxes on luxury goods and watch exports. On top of that, anti-German sentiment was high, and Wilsdorf's German origins made things complicated. He was a brilliant businessman, and he knew he couldn't grow his company under these conditions. So, with a heavy heart, he made a pivotal decision. He packed up his entire operation and moved the Rolex headquarters from London, its birthplace, to the neutral watchmaking heartland of Geneva, Switzerland. This move was a game-changer. It not only saved the company from crushing taxes, but also placed Rolex right in the epicenter of the world's finest watchmaking talent and tradition. It was in Switzerland that Rolex would go on to develop its most iconic innovations, like the first waterproof watch, the Oyster. From a name whispered by a genie on a bus, to the trenches of World War I, to its final home in Geneva, the early story of Rolex is a masterclass in vision, timing, and bold decisions. Ever wondered how a watch becomes a legend? It's not just about telling time, it's about a story, a vision, and some seriously clever marketing. Let's talk about Rolex. Back in 1915, a man named Hans Wilsdorf made a game-changing decision. He renamed his company to the Rolex Watch Corporation Limited. Along with the new name came an emblem that would become a global symbol of luxury: the iconic five-pointed crown. This wasn't just a logo, it was a promise of royal quality, a crown for every achievement. Just 4 years later, in 1919, Wilsdorf moved the entire operation to Geneva, Switzerland. This city was already the heart of fine watchmaking, and by planting his flag there, he declared that Rolex was here to compete with the very best. He wasn't just joining the club, he was aiming to lead it. But the real breakthrough came in 1926. Rolex introduced the Oyster, the world's first truly waterproof and dustproof watch. Think about it. At a time when most watches were delicate and fragile, here was a timepiece you could wear anywhere, in any condition. The name itself was brilliant. An oyster is sealed tight against the elements, protecting a pearl inside. The Rolex Oyster case did the same for its precious movement. Now, having a revolutionary product is one thing, but proving it to the world is another. This is where Hans Wilsdorf showed his marketing genius. In 1927, a young English swimmer named Mercedes Gleitzer was preparing to swim across the English Channel. Wilsdorf saw an opportunity. He gave her a Rolex Oyster to wear during her grueling 10-hour swim. When she emerged from the freezing water, exhausted but triumphant, the Rolex on her wrist was ticking perfectly. It had survived the cold, the constant motion, and the salt water. Wilsdorf didn't keep this success quiet. He took out a full-page ad on the front of London's Daily Mail newspaper, celebrating Mercedes's achievement and the incredible durability of his watch. The headline read, "The Wonder Watch that defies the elements." This single event catapulted Rolex to international fame. It wasn't just a watch anymore. It was a companion for adventurers, a testament to endurance, and a symbol of reliability. From the snowy peaks of the Himalayas to the deepest oceans, Rolex proved time and again that its watches were built to last. The story of the Oyster and Mercedes Gleitzer wasn't just an ad, it was the foundation of the Rolex legend. It's a perfect example of how a great idea, combined with bold action, can change the world. When we last left off, Hans Wilsdorf had just conquered the English Channel with the incredible Rolex Oyster. But a true visionary never rests, and Wilsdorf was about to take his marketing genius to a whole new level. Imagine walking past a jewelry store in the 1920s. Amidst the sparkling diamonds and gold, you see something completely unexpected. A fishbowl with live goldfish swimming around. A watch. Not just any watch, but a ticking Rolex Oyster, perfectly unharmed by the water. This wasn't a one-off stunt. Wilsdorf equipped his dealers with these aquariums, turning every storefront into a testament to Rolex's waterproof promise. It was brilliant, interactive advertising, decades ahead of its time. He didn't stop there. Wilsdorf understood the power of celebrity. He partnered with the glamorous British actress, Evelyn Leigh, who became one of the first brand ambassadors. She famously wrote an open letter praising her oyster, saying it survived being submerged in water and exposed to tropical heat without losing a second. This fusion of technical proof and aspirational glamour was a recipe for success. Rolex's reputation for resilience continued to climb, quite literally. In 1933, the first ever flight expedition over Mount Everest took place. The pilots, facing extreme altitudes and bone-chilling temperatures, all wore Rolex Oysters. The watches performed flawlessly, further cementing Rolex's image as the ultimate tool for adventurers. Meanwhile, on the ground, speed was the name of the game. The legendary King of Speed, Sir Malcolm Campbell, was busy breaking land speed records in his car, the Bluebird. On his wrist, a Rolex. He wasn't even a paid ambassador at first, he just chose Rolex because he believed it was the best. He famously sent a telegram to Rolex after breaking the 300-mile-per-hour barrier, stating his Oyster was still keeping perfect time. These real-world tests were invaluable, but Wilsdorf knew the next great leap had to be in convenience. Winding your watch every day was a hassle, and unscrewing the crown to do so could compromise its waterproof seal. His solution, unveiled in 1931, was revolutionary: the Oyster Perpetual. It featured a perpetual rotor, a semicircular weight that pivoted with the motion of the wearer's arm, automatically winding the watch. This was the world's first reliable self-winding waterproof wristwatch. The legend was complete. But just as Rolex reached new heights of innovation and fame, the world was plunged into darkness. The outbreak of World War II brought immense challenges. Manufacturing was difficult, and exporting watches became nearly impossible. Amidst this global turmoil, Hans Wilsdorf faced a profound personal tragedy. In 1944, his beloved wife and business partner Florence passed away. He was devastated, losing the woman who had been by his side from the very beginning. The future of Rolex and its founder was suddenly shrouded in uncertainty. We're diving into the final chapter of a story that completely redefined the world of luxury. In the last episode, we saw how Hans Wilsdorf, the genius behind Rolex, navigated his brand through the chaos of World War II. But what happened next is what truly cemented Rolex's legendary status. In 1944, a personal tragedy struck Hans. His beloved wife, Florence, passed away. In her memory, he made a decision that would shape the future of his company forever. He established the Hans Wilsdorf Foundation and, in an unprecedented move, transferred his entire 100% ownership of Rolex to it. This meant that from that day forward, a significant portion of Rolex's income would be donated to charity. The company wasn't just about making profits anymore. It was about giving back. Rolex literally has a heart of gold. After the war, the world was ready to celebrate. and Rolex gave them the perfect way to do it. The brand's sales exploded. The iconic Rolex Datejust, the first self-winding wristwatch to display the date in a window on the dial, became an instant symbol of success. It was quickly followed by the prestigious Day-Date, famously worn by presidents and world leaders. Rolex wasn't just a watch, it was a statement. Then came 1953, a year that would change diving and watchmaking forever. Rolex unveiled the Submariner. This wasn't just another watch, it was a robust professional tool, water-resistant up to 100 meters. It was tough, reliable, and incredibly stylish. The Submariner quickly became the most famous dive watch in history, a legend worn by everyone from professional divers to James Bond himself. Hans Wilsdorf passed away in 1960, leaving behind a legacy that is almost unbelievable. He started with a vision of a reliable wristwatch and ended up creating the world's most powerful luxury brand. Through his innovation, his marketing genius, and his incredible generosity, he didn't just build a company, he created an icon that continues to set the standard for excellence and prestige. The story of Hans Wilsdorf and Rolex is a masterclass in turning a dream into a timeless empire. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this journey through watchmaking history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next video. See you then.